Ray, so this seems awfully ridiculous to me. Dealers are bullish about 2025, but what they are worried about is affordability and their profit. So why would they be bullish if they're worried about actually making money? This makes no sense to me. I understand volumes are going up. That's great. That's good for a lot of dealerships. That's good for a lot of used car dealers. If we can get more velocity of money, we can get transactions that are moving through the system. But if you have dealer principals who are worried about actually turning profits, so why are they bullish?
I am not 100% sure why in this survey they would be bullish, and here's why I say that. We know that the profitability of dealerships has gone down over the last 2 years. 2 years ago, the profitability was astronomical, and it has gone in one direction, and that's down the last 2 years. Now, having said that, they are probably still operating at a more profitable level than they had been prior to the COVID pandemic. So they're still making more money today than they had been, say, in 2019, but they're making considerably less money than they were in 2022, early 2023. The other concern about affordability is everybody's been talking about that for 4 years now. And that is an issue. And you know it's an issue when the average new car payment today is $756. And the average used car payment is $500 some dollars. That's not affordable for the vast majority of people. So I would I would be, if I were a dealer, extremely concerned as to whether or not I am representing a manufacturer that understands the dynamics of trying to get more people in today to buy cars will require that manufacturer to produce less expensive entry level automobiles in order to be able to get the customers to show up. We do know that there's some manufacturers that have stated that they're going to do that, and there's others that are kind of holding the line.
And we can see some of the problems here. So if you look at this chart right here, it shows what is your new vehicle day supply of inventory. And we have the two biggest sections right here are the highest days. So 28% say that their inventory is between 71 and 90 days. And then we have 25%. This is a massive number that say they have a level of inventory that is 91 days or greater. And this just shows you why affordability is such a problem because dealers are seeing that they have. I mean, the easy examples are the F-150s, the Ram 1500s, a lot of these GMC and Chevy trucks that continue to increase the day's supply on these lots because they're just so freaking expensive. And this is one of the biggest concerns coming out of these dealerships. And you're seeing it right there with the numbers that over 50%, they are over 71 days of supply or more. And so what is really the Goldilocks zone? I think it's like between like 40 and 55 days of
They they
what a
they
dealership.
would they would want to have a day supply range somewhere between 45 and 60 days. If you can stay there, you're golden. You're typically pretty close to well within your floor plan assistance that you're getting. So there shouldn't be a tremendous amount of excess cost involved in carrying that inventory. But we know in 2024, the market segments that grew were the $20,000 to $30,000 MSRP segments, and the lower priced smaller SUVs because people couldn't afford the higher priced larger SUVs. So if fully 25% of your inventory is 91 days and older, primarily that inventory is going to be made up of your most expensive stuff, which means that's the most expensive part of your inventory that you have to be paying for, that you're carrying the costs of every month. That eats in to your profit dramatically. You know, 4 years ago, floor plan assistance from a manufacturer was a profit center for a dealership because they were selling their cars faster than they had to pay for them. To have them sit there. And now,
Explain that just a little bit, just for someone who's new to watching us, how floor plan can actually be. This is a credit line, so how can it be a profit center?
okay, most manufacturers will pay somewhere around 2.5% of the MSRP in floor plan assistance. So if a vehicle has an MSRP of $4,000, and we'll use the 2% margin there, so that would be $800 in floor plan assistance, and that might cover the first 60 days of having the vehicle sit there. When there was a shortage of vehicles, that $40,000 cost truck or whatever it was um, didn't sit at all, or sold well before all that floor plan assistance money had to be used. So the portion that didn't have to be used to pay for your inventory goes to profit, and so dealers were literally making hundreds of thousands of dollars in extra profit because they didn't have to pay any floor plan interest costs to have the vehicle sit there, because if you were a Toyota dealer, everything was pre-sold. So you were just, that was just extra money. Now, if you're a Stellantis dealer and you're sitting there and most of your inventory is 150 to 200 days old, well, you've been paying interest for the last 200 days. Now it's an expense. It's not a profit center anymore. The amount that you got as floor plan assistance was used up a long time ago, and now you have to use your own money to pay the interest on that, and that becomes a huge expense. Did I explain that okay?
That's perfect. And I think I derailed you off whatever point you were going to make before that, and I forgot what it was, and I know you did.
Yeah,
So let's go.
you know my memory's not that good.
Yeah, so let's go to the next thing here. So we want to pull up the biggest risk that a lot of these dealers are talking about in the market right now. Number one thing is vehicle affordability. We just talked about
Yes.
that. Number two, the lower new vehicle profitability margins. So I mean that's easy for us to talk about, where you can have volume that goes up. I know I get these comments all the time. I'm sure you
Yeah.
guys too, where okay, Ford, their sales continue to go up, or we have Stellantis that actually just had some good sales numbers that came out. Yeah, these manufacturers can have sales that increase,
Yes.
but as they increase, it's because they're lowering their prices, because they're adding incentives. It's because dealers are lowering prices. So even though they're selling more vehicles, the amount per vehicle that they're making is actually coming down. That's a good thing for the car market, but it's not good for these manufacturers. These manufacturers love this massive profit margin game. These dealers loved this massive profit margin game that they were able to play over the last 2 to 3 years. But now they're getting back to the volume game. If they want to actually move the metal, then they have to play the volume game again. This is not what a lot of these manufacturers, a lot of these dealers want to do. And a lot of these manufacturers, we've seen articles over the last year saying that they never wanted to get back to the volume game because it was just so much easier for them to make more money by selling these vehicles, these F-150s for $75,000 versus $55,000, and trying to pump out 4 or 5 of them instead of just that one. And they're making the same amount of money on that one that they would make on the 4 or 5. So this is a big concern for dealers, and dealers are making less money per car right now. All right, so all of you watching it here, I know most of you are not subscribed, so I need you to hit that subscribe button. Whatever we need to do to get you to hit that subscribe button, Ray will do it. So just hit it for us and let us know what he needs to do down in the comments to get you to subscribe.
Oh, absolutely they are. And listen, if net profit at dealerships has dropped from 6 to 7% down to 2.5 to 3%. Well, the reason that's happened is because the profit for per vehicle sold is less today than what it had been. And that's because the dealer has had to discount the vehicle more, and the manufacturer has had to increase the incentives to help move those vehicles along. I know you see it in the comments all the time. Oh, well, prices aren't coming down. Well, profits are. Okay. And typically profits are coming down because, well, prices have come down. The cost of the goods has still remained high, but the spread between that cost and what you're selling it for has dropped. So we know that dealers aren't making as much per car as they had been. Now, here's the dilemma. We know that there's an affordability issue. We know that more manufacturers have indicated they're going to start and continue to produce more lower priced vehicles that have a smaller profit margin. We were just looking at some invoices before, and there were some cases where there was only $500, $600, $700, $800 of profit built into the vehicle. So the dealer's not making nearly as much selling those vehicles as selling a $60,000 vehicle. And B, the manufacturer doesn't make as much, but you've broadened your customer base so that, in the famous words, you can make it up in volume. You just have to sell more vehicles than you sold before, and you should be able to, because they're more affordable for more people now. So,
and I wanted to just pop this screen back up again. We showed this a little while ago, but like Jeep Gladiator, MSRP is $45,000, advertised price 41 grand. Jeep Gladiator, MSRP is $43,000. What they're selling it for is 37, whatever. And obviously, you're going to probably have some add-ons on these, but you're still going to be under MSRP. So here's the thing me and Ray are talking about. Now, if you're not seeing prices come down, then you're probably judging from the wrong goalpost, right? So me and Ray, when we're in the car market every single day. So a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we saw all of these Gladiators being sold for over MSRP. But
yes.
if you haven't checked prices, or you assume that prices should be back to where they were in 2019, that's not the way it works. Prices continue to go up. Even if any of this craziness didn't happen, prices would still have gone up from there, not as dramatically as they did. But what we are saying from the goalpost that we're looking at, looking from a year and a half ago, the same Jeep Gladiator that you could have bought then, the one that you can buy right now, even potentially a newer one, a year model newer one, it's going to be $5,000, $6,000, maybe even $10,000 cheaper than what you could have bought it for 18 months ago. Exactly. And this is what we're talking about. Prices are absolutely coming down. We're seeing it. It might depend on the type of vehicle you're looking at too, because a Toyota RAV4, a Prime, you're probably not going to have prices lower now than where they were 12 months ago. Maybe you can find that one dealer that wants to play the volume game and move out some vehicles, but probably not on a vehicle like that. But more of your mass market vehicles that are not moving as well as like a Toyota RAV4 Prime, then you're going to actually find some discounts now. They're not going to just hand it over to you. You got to do some research.
You got to
ask for it. Yeah. So if you're window shopping for MSRPs, no, you're not going to see any prices come down. And they're, you know what though? Actually, I went to a dealership, like 4 or 5 dealerships 3 days ago, and there were discounts everywhere across these lots. So maybe, you can go out and actually see something. You might just have to leave your house,
especially in January and February. I mean, but you don't. You don't ask by walking into a dealership and saying, please don't bend me over. That's not how it works. You have to have a little bit of knowledge. You have to have done a little bit of research so that you know what others have been paying for that vehicle in your area. And there are places you can do that research and you can get that type of information. And so that you know how to negotiate or how much you should be able to negotiate, other than just saying, please don't take advantage of me. Okay, yeah, we promise not to. Is this price all right? Because we promise we're not taking advantage of you. You have to know. You have to educate yourself.
So let me pull up this question then. Ray, so with us saying all of this and saying that we are seeing prices come down, Is now a good time to buy a car, or would you still be in the camp if you don't have to buy one right now? Would you still wait and see how some of this stuff unfolds?
There's just so many unknowns this year. I would tell you this: it's January and February are the two slowest months of the year. We've gone through January, and January was so. My suspicion is February is not going to be that great. Um, but we're only 4 days in, but there's only 24 days left. So I think there probably could be some deals to be had. Now, when I say deals to be had, what does that mean? How does that translate to you? I mean, are you looking to get, a Toyota Rav4 and get 10 grand off? No, you're not going to get that. Could you go get a Ram pickup truck and save $18,000? More than likely. So it depends on what you're looking at, and it depends on how long the vehicles have been sitting and how strong the incentives are. I have a suspicion that towards the end of this month, dealers are going to be pretty damn desperate to be moving stuff. I don't think January was all that good, and so now, should you wait? I don't know. A month from now, there might be tariffs again. Who the hell knows? I mean, there's just so many unknowns moving forward this year that it's hard to say.
And I'm still in the camp with these tariffs that even if we get 25% tariffs on any of these manufacturers, I think manufacturers going to have to eat it. I don't think they can raise the price.
They can't eat it all.
What they're not going to be able to sell anything if they raise their prices higher than what they're doing now. So they're going to have to eat it in some kind of incentives, special interest rates, something. It's going to be eaten somewhere.
Not all of it. There's if I was just reading that I think it's a third of Nissan's vehicles come from Mexico. And we do know that Nissan has manufacturing facilities in Tennessee, but still a third of their vehicles come from their production facilities in Mexico. Well, if a third of those vehicles eventually end up with this tariff, and let's hope that it doesn't happen. It could be a one-day thing again. Who the hell knows? But if it were to transpire, that means they would have to absorb that extra cost on a third of what they offer, and we know that they're financially troubled now. Well, how do you, if you're in a financial difficulty now, how do you, other than going out of business, how do you absorb some more loss that way? So,
and my thing is, I think they'll try to pass it on to the customer. I think that will be the game plan. But it's just the Nissan customers are already saying no right now at these prices.
I get it.
Yeah,
that's why I say there's just too many unknowns moving forward. The one known is that we do know that the vast majority of the manufacturers are looking to be able to produce more entry-level vehicles that will fall in the $20,000 to $35,000 range, perhaps $20,000 to $30,000 range. But does that number get impacted if there's tariffs moving forward? Will that $22,000 vehicle suddenly become a $24,000 vehicle? It's still more affordable than most vehicles, but that extra $2,000 is going to matter to whatever person is thinking about potentially buying it.
What I will say that we do know is on the used car side of things, there will still be tax refund checks, and we'll still get this massive boom on the lower end of used cars. So as far as new car space, I will defer to Ray as far as when you should buy and when you shouldn't. And as far as used cars go, if you're wanting to buy a used car in the next 3 to 5 months, you need to buy that thing right freaking now. Because let's see here, we're in the beginning of February now. In about 2 to 3 weeks, prices are going to spike. You're going to have zero negotiability at these used car dealers, and then they're going to rush to auction after they get that first initial wave, and then they're going to pay too much for used cars, and they're going to take them to their used car dealerships, and they're going to charge too much for them. And it's going to take 3 months for them to realize that there's no buyers for them at that price. But until they realize that, prices will be way too high. So if you're a used car buyer, buy right now or wait 6 months.
Yeah, because tax season is upon us. Tax refunds should be coming in the next 2 to 3 weeks is when they should start. And that's when you'll see a run on used cars. Now, luckily for me, there is no tax refund for me, damn it. I have to stroke the government a check. I might not be able to afford to buy my car when I need to get a car in May. I might have to come see you, Brandon.
I'll send you one. Yeah, I tell you what, you come down here and get a car. I'll give you one for free.
No. I don't want nothing for free, buddy. I'm
going to put you in the most ragged out Ford Taurus that you've ever seen in your life.
Looking forward to it. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Tell every living person you know that they need to subscribe to Car Sense with Brandon and Ray.